Hey guys, X here. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while since I've made a video, so thank you to everybody who has subscribed and stayed subscribed throughout that time. Today we're going to be talking about Savannah monitors, a little bit about where they come from and their proper captive husbandry. So let's get into it. So this is my Savannah monitor. She is a female. She's about 2 years old and maybe 2 feet long, maybe just over 2 feet long. These guys are mostly all wild caught, or they're hatched from females that were wild caught and laid eggs. They're exported in the thousands from places in Africa like Ghana, Togo, and Benin. Not a whole lot is known about Savannah monitors, which is one of the main reasons why we haven't been able to produce them in captivity, and why we have to get them imported in from Africa, which is unfortunate. Only 2 real studies have been done on these guys. The main one was between, I believe, 1971 and 1980 by a guy named Mamadou Sissi. I hope I said his name right. He basically studied them in Senegal, and a lot of people overlook his work just because it was written in French, so you have to find it translated somewhere, which I did. Took a little bit of digging, but I found it. The other study was done by Daniel Bennett and Baturi Ali in Ghana in 1994, and I think they're still doing their study now. They actually have a website called, it's savmon.org. That's the main place where I got most of my information. They have a lot of good information on Savannah monitors that is completely different than what people on YouTube will tell you, or if you read a reptiles magazine or something. But these guys are mainly insectivores, which I know is a big problem in the pet trade right now, because a lot of people feed them rodents and stuff, which I think is a main reason why they don't breed in captivity. The rodents just get them really fat, so you see a lot of big, fat, huge Savannah monitors in captivity, but if you look at all the pictures of the ones in the wild, they do not look that big at all. So Mamadou Sissi's studies, he studied them mainly in the dry season. So in Africa, they have wet and dry seasons. So from January to May or June is usually dry and there's no water or insects around. So these guys will go through an estivation, which is basically a dormant period where they don't eat or drink anything. And when they do that, they're usually found in trees, like up on tree branches or in tree hollows. And they pretty much don't move or do anything for those 6 months. But they only do that after their first year. So this year, starting the end of December, I'm gonna do it with this girl and see how it goes. I'm a bit nervous about it, but they do it in the wild, so I think she should be fine. During that time is also the hottest time of year where she's from. So they don't really do a whole lot of moving. Then after the rainy season comes back, from about June up until December-ish, is when they will eat as much as they can, and then they will breed in like October, November, and lay their eggs, and then go right back into the estivation period where they don't do anything. Husbandry for her, I have this cage, which the bottom is just like a livestock trough that you could get at like Home Depot or Lowe's or any livestock place. And I think it was like $100. It's 6 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet deep. I filled it with about 1.5 feet of dirt, which you really don't need for Savannah monitors. I know on YouTube and everywhere people say, oh, you need 2 feet of substrate, but you really don't, unless you have a gravid female and she needs somewhere to lay her eggs. In the wild, they don't dig burrows like people think. They usually take over burrows that were already dug, or they just live up in a tree hollow and then they come out when it's time to eat. They usually aren't going to waste their energy digging holes, especially in the wild when it might be hard to find food. There's no point in wasting your energy digging a hole when you could just go take over a gopher hole or whatever. They also might take over termite mounds and just live in a termite mound, sort of like what ball pythons do. So I'm sure in the wild, ball pythons probably feed on these guys. But as far as temperature goes, her hot spot right there, I have 2 heat bulbs, or well, 3 heat bulbs. I have a ceramic heat emitter right there. That one is set by a probe right over there to 90 degrees. It stays on all the time. This is a mini halogen bulb. It's just in a really big dome. That is also a mini halogen. And both of those hotspots, this one over here gets to about 110. This one over here gets up to about 130. And it keeps the ambient temperature in her cage between 90 and 85 degrees, which is perfect. She uses this entire cage. She'll dig around. As far as a substrate, I bought most of it from the Bio Dude, which was pretty expensive. That was probably the most expensive part of this cage, to be honest. It was the Terra Firma and Terra Sahara mix, and I also threw in a bunch of leaf litter, sphagnum moss, some cocoa blocks is mixed in there, as you could see. There's all types of bugs in here. There's powder orange isopods, there's springtails, super worms, earthworms, all types of stuff, and she can dig around and eat whatever she wants. For food, I only feed insects. She got one pinky mouse when she was smaller, and that's only because my hognose didn't eat it, so I just gave it to her. And that was the only time she's had anything other than insects. But I feed earthworms, superworms, mealworms, crickets, dubias, hornworms. Basically any insect that she will want to eat, I feed to her. I also buy the canned Zoomed snails. And then Fluker's canned river shrimp. I'll feed that to her as well. And she eats it all. And in my opinion, she's a very healthy looking Savannah monitor. Most of the ones you see are fat and they're huge and people will hold them on their shoulder and they just won't move. I think if you hold a Savannah monitor and it's not trying to move, then it's probably overweight. Because I picked this girl up and she's not a bad monitor. She won't try to bite me every time. As long as she realizes that my fingers aren't worms, she's fine. And I could pick her up, but she does not want to be held. She wants to move around. She wants to be set outside her cage so she could whirl around and explore the reptile room. But I just think not a lot of studies have been done with these guys, and the studies that have been done get ignored, and people just say, hey, I'm going to feed them rodents because that's what it wants to eat. But I mean, I could offer my dog donuts every day and my dog will eat the donuts. That does not mean it is good for them. But one way you can tell if you have a male or a female is, first of all, the males get larger than the females and their heads are a bit longer. The females have more of a short, boxy looking head, and the males have a longer head. Also, if you look down at the base of the tail down here underneath, there will be bulges where the hemipenes will be, and then the males also have a thicker base of the tail than females do. So her tail base, I mean, it looks thick, but it's pretty thin compared to what a male's would be. And also on the bottom of their back feet, there would be sort of like a brown patch on males, and females don't have that. And if they do have it, it's very, very light compared to the males. But she always has fresh water, which stays fresh for maybe an hour, and then she'll go in it and get dirt, and she'll poop in it and all that, which is fun. You gotta clean the water about every day, every other day maybe. But she does have UVB as well, right back there. I know a lot of people say monitors don't need UVB, which I think is just idiotic because they get UVB in the wild, so why would you not provide it in captivity? I understand you want to save money, but if you want to save money, maybe taking care of animals isn't for you, because it's a pretty expensive hobby with the cages and everything, unless you build your own, and then you're just gonna have a big heavy cage like I do right now. Moving this thing with my brother was very fun. But that's about all I have. I'm just gonna show you the rest of her enclosure. Nothing spectacular. She has like basking ledges up there if she wants to go up there, which she does spend some time up there. But she's not very big. She is only about 2 feet. That's my hand next to her. She's not very big. I know a lot of people show you some massive 4-foot Savannah monitors that are just definitely obese, but I'm trying to keep her lean and mean, and hopefully one day I can get a male and see if I could breed them. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully I did some justice for Savannah monitors. I think they are very underrated animals. A lot of people overlook them, and don't give them their due simply because they're cheap and people say they're mean and can't be tamed down. But I think if you captive breed these things for a few generations, and they're going to calm down just as much as a water monitor would. They just haven't had the same type of effort put into them as water monitors and other types of monitors in the pet trade have. So again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll be more consistent with the videos now that I'm settled into a new place and have everything set up now. Thank you all.